Let's imagine humans had wings and could fly with them. What are the physical requirements to make that possible? Where would we live and how would we live together? And last but not least, how would our society change as a response from that? Let us find out together today and here on Let's Imagine. Please consider subscribing. It's free, it's easy, and you're signed up to see more imaginational craziness. To be able to fly has always been a dream of mankind. With technical aids, we were able to achieve this goal. But the feeling of simply going outside and flying off is entirely something else from that what we consider flying right now. In an airplane, for example, flying mostly means waiting and praying that the pilot makes a good job. Some more exciting ways to fly include paragliding, parasailing, and skydiving. To be able to fly on our own without any gadget, the first thing to consider are the physics behind flying. We would have to be much lighter. Our bones and the general body structure would have to be built in another way to make them light and solid, to match them our body size. If we would have evolved to fly, we probably would look in some way either different to birds or to bats. Our bodies would have feathers or would be shaped more aerodynamic to overcome the challenges of flying. If humans had developed flight, it is also quite possible that we would not have developed the big brains we have today. The reason behind this consideration is simple. In the past, we had to come up with ways to escape dangerous situations, while birds could just fly away when they wanted to. The development of our brain would also depend on whether we would have evolved wings as our arms or additional wings to our arms. The answer for this question would also be the foundation for the use of tools and ultimately for the evolution into the Homo sapiens that we are right now. For the sake of simplicity, let's imagine a human species that can fly and is intelligent at the same time. So, if we still would be the prevailing species on Earth, what would our coexistence look like and where would we live? Since we would have the airspace available and could reach more inaccessible places, we would probably live on higher ground. We would have homes in trees, towers or on mountains to protect our lightweight bodies from predators. We would think three-dimensional about our houses, covering them above as solidly as below. We'd probably have less side doors at ground level and open doors to the sky. Cities would have much higher buildings, but would also be less crowded at the same time, as traveling would be easier. Depending on how fast and how far we could fly, the forms of transport would rapidly change as they wouldn't be needed to the extent that we use them now. For example, traveling by bike would become redundant, as we could have fresh air, physical exertion, and a sustainable way of traveling by flying. So, what would our society look like? As previously stated, we would still be an intelligent species. The only difference would be the wings. Political systems, markets and the general coexistence would therefore depend on rational intelligence. This is why we could suggest that the social circumstances would not be that different. However, there are still some things to consider. The crime rate would probably increase because it would be easier to escape. Beauty standards would be completely different because we would look at ourselves from a different point of view. We would probably have more fatal accidents when traveling in crowded places. Just imagine typing on your smartphone while flying. In the end, a world where people can fly is different from reality in many ways. Evolution and intelligence are only two of the factors that would change everything in this case. Therefore, this hypothetical world is difficult to predict. But what we can say though is that we need to take all of these facts into consideration. The rest is up for your imagination. How would you imagine a world with flying humans? Let us know in the comments! Please like the video and consider subscribing.